Good morning. Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful day. I just dropped my daughter off to a summer class she has to take. She's taking driver's ed. And, golly, I had all the windows down. It just felt really good to be outside today. I don't know. I cherish those moments of just being sort of. I wasn't even out in nature. It was just nice to breathe fresh air. You have these moments that are just like, life is good. Even though it's busy, even though it's hectic, even though it's crazy, it's just really good. So, feels good. Also, I owe you guys an apology because the last 2 days, I don't know if you noticed, but I did the puzzles really quick. And there's a reason behind that. And I was sort of doing a little bit of a test, I guess. I don't know if you saw it. Maybe it came up in your shorts feed, but I attempted to do some shorts from this live stream. I basically just pulled clips from the live stream. And I have a button right here on my little touch panel that hits record in my streaming software. And what ended up happening is because I hit record, and shorts are typically 3 minutes long or less. It used to be 1 minute long. You can't fit anything into it. Now it's 3 minutes long. I found myself having to really jam to finish the puzzle quickly, and I don't want to do that. Yesterday's live stream was 27 minutes long, and I'm like, why? Just calm down, just do the puzzles, just feel through it, right? And so I'm doing a live stream, yeah, but I'm not recording it, and I'm not worried about finishing each puzzle in 3 minutes just so I can make a short out of it. In fact, I looked at the analytics of those shorts, and total, I think I made 11 shorts between the 2 days, and they netted me 18 views. That was it. Usually shorts get hundreds, maybe thousands, and if you're lucky, maybe millions of views. Not 18 total. And so, if I kept doing it, would they grow? I don't know. Sure, maybe. But as far as what I am going for, that doesn't really fulfill my goals. If maybe I had gotten 100, 200 views on a short, or heck, maybe 1,000 views on a short, I'd go, oh, people watch that. Maybe I'll make I'll make a bunch of shorts. I'll make shorts about all this. But where it caused me to panic through and try and do the puzzles as fast as I can, it didn't work out for me. So I am not going to be separately recording any of this to try and make shorts out of it. I don't know. Did you guys see did my shorts show up in your shorts feed yesterday or the day before? If they didn't, then maybe that answers everything, right? You guys that watch it all the time. Well, good morning. Let's see who's on. John Marco's on. Callie's on. Awesome. Good to have you. Yeah, driver's ed stories. No stories yet. I mean, the only story that she's had so far is that she's been behind the wheel multiple times already, either on the road. We got her on the road later in the day where there weren't as many cars, and, in business parking lots, just empty parking lots, a church parking lot or something, right? And she's been doing really well. She came home yesterday saying, oh, they started showing us these terrible videos. I was actually in there. I had to go to my classroom for something, and I came back, and I'm walking by, and they're watching just some real life horror story of this girl, and her brother got hit by a car on a bike, and this whole thing. So they're trying to scare them straight into not texting while driving and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's a horror story, but John Marco says today's connections is one of those days where it seems it then comes back 10 hours later to solve it. Name the blue. Oh no, blue is hard. Okay. Callie also says do it at a regular pace and extract the tail end of your games for shorts. Oh, I really could, when I'm about to solve it, instead of sitting there yeah. I don't know if I'm going to get much meaningful content out of shorts where I could just, keep doing these live streams as usual. I don't know. I don't know the right answer. Did you guys see my shorts in your shorts feed yesterday and the day before? If not, maybe we're Maybe we're up in the night. Okay, so playing connections today. We've got convention, reporter, shadow boxer, interesting, criminal, standard, news hound. There's an obvious one. I'll do the obvious one first. I see snicker doodle, news hound, shadow boxer, and then a trend setter. That's cute. Ending with, and it's a purple category too. That's funny. Ending with kinds of dogs. News hound, shadow boxer, snicker doodle. I have a doodle. This cute dog that we're fostering is a golden doodle. And then a trend setter, not like an Irish setter. Okay, the other thing that stood out to me was a photographer, an editor, a reporter, and a columnist. These are people that work in the news industry. Newspaper jobs. Cool. All right, and you guys are saying the blue category just didn't stand out. So let's see if I can make it stand out. I'm going to laugh if I get the blue category instead of the green category next. Standard, regular, routine, and common. Okay, well, here, let me do it this way then. Swindle, criminal, convention, and drawback. What is this? With what con might mean. Oh my gosh. Oh, I can see why that's impossible. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then standard, regular, routine, and common. Every day. Good heavens. How are you going to get that? Okay, what con might mean. Convention, criminal is a con, pros and cons, drawback, or a con like a swindle. A con, they swindle and criminal, they kind of have the same meaning, right? They con you out of a deal. You did reverse rainbow today? Nice. Awesome. Okay, well, the newspaper jobs one stood out to me because I teach TV broadcast, and we don't have necessarily newspaper jobs, but we have broadcast jobs, and there are photogs, right? The photographers. I have a whole rotation of reporters. Basically, every other show, you're making a video report that goes into our live show. Editors, in this sense, it would be typing editors, right? Copy editors. But for my class, of course, we're, writing stories that are going to be turned into videos. Cool. Awesome. So the connections puzzle today, ending with kinds of dogs, right? A news hound. That's funny. News hound sounds like one of these ones too. A columnist or a reporter, a news hound. That's funny. Shadow boxer, snickerdoodle, trend setter. That's cool. All right. Newspaper jobs, right? The yellow category. Columnist, editor, photographer, and reporter. Commonly a photographer, especially a video photographer, is called a photog. It's interesting that it's called a photographer because, in a video, you take 30 frames a second in video, and there's audio included, but they still call it photography. It's interesting. So to differentiate it, if it's literally a still photographer taking pictures, they're called a photographer. But in video, the person that goes out with a reporter out on the scene to capture the footage, they call them a photog, usually. Just photog. All right, the blue category, I was kind of just goofing around. You guys said, the blue is going to be hard. Okay, so I did the green, but I figured out what the green was, common, regular, routine, and standard. But instead of clicking those, I clicked the opposite ones, so I got the blue first. Con might mean convention, like Comic-Con. Criminal can be a con. Pros and cons, like a drawback. And then to swindle someone, con. To con someone out of it. Usually out of money, sadly. Things that are everyday, right? They're common, they're regular, routine, and standard. Cool. All right, let's play the mini crossword. It's a 5x5 with a couple of letters each in the middle of the word. So let's see what that makes at the end. Oh, for heaven's sake. Ending in scene and multi, in cine, multiplex. I hear that one a lot. Cineplex, multiplex. Oh, ending for cine. Cineplex. Your pelvic bone. Pelvic bone is your coccyx, I think. I don't think that's right. This will blank. Unacceptable. This will end me. This will... I don't know. This will go bad. Oh, maybe go bad? Could be. I don't know. We'll come back. Excited cry from a kid on the circled letters. I don't know what the circled letters make yet. What a ballerina might do on one toe. Spin. We'll spin. Permit. Or permit, I guess. Allow. Well, that would be permit. Richards of the Rolling Stones. That's Keith Richards. Radiate as energy. Expel. Exude. Exude. Stooge with a bowl cut. Larry, Moe, and Curly. Nice. Okay, so I feel like there are some across ones that we skipped. Let's see, what did we miss? Okay, oh, for heaven's sakes. Ending for cine and multi in movie theater names. Cineplex, multiplex. Pelvic bone, your ilium. That's a new one for me, ilium. Isn't that your coccyx bone? Maybe I'm thinking wrong. Ilium. Yeah, let's see. This will not do. Yeah, I was thinking it was two words. This will not do. Unacceptable. Excited cry from a kid on the slide. Wee. Oh, funny. Wee. That's so cute. What a ballerina might do on one toe. Spin. And then at first I read it as permit, but it's permit. To permit is to allow. Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. Radiate as energy. Exude. And then the Stooge with the bowl cut. Remember, there's Larry, Moe, and Curly. And then Pep Boys had Manny, Moe, and Jack. Two different Moes. Nice. All right, and then let's dive in. We'll play our Wordle. Imagine ilium to be the Wordle word. That would be funny. That would be funny. Okay, what do we start with today? What should we start with today? How about bound? Okay, I was going to say this would be 4 days in a row that our first word had 0 hints in it. But this time it gave us a D. So the D, not at the end, somewhere in there. What about... Oh, I was going to say tempo. How about tripe? Oh, look at that. There's an I in the middle and an E somewhere. Okay, can we come up with another one? Oh, I got a great one. This is a drummer word, flams. Nice. Okay. So we've got 4 letters, the I in the middle, and it does not start with an F. So imagine, what if it started with the D? Okay, that's unlikely. What would go with an F? If it was Let's think about this. It's not an IED word. At first I was like, oh, maybe it's blank blank IED, but there is no D at the end. The D is not at the end. There's one more letter. We don't know what the letter is. And D and F don't really go together. So I'm thinking one is on one side of the eye and the other is on the other side of the eye. I keep thinking of ED words. It's not ED. Okay, also, how about this? Where's the E? Where does the E go? Because if it's not an F word, so what if it's DEI? Oh, wait. Oh, my gosh. I'm staring at a word. Deify. To lift up someone to like a godlike state. To deify. Okay. Well, you tell me what it is. Edify. That's so funny that edify and deify are just 2 letters away. You swap those 2 letters. That's interesting. Well, I mean, that's got to be the answer, but that's so interesting. How have I never realized that the words deify and edify are basically the same word, just those first 2 letters mixed up? That's cool. That's really cool. All right, so we did our usual strategy of coming up with 3 different words that don't intersect each other. The first word, bound, gave me the D. The second word gave us the I and an E somewhere. And then flams, great drummer word, flams. It's hitting the 2 drumsticks just barely apart from each other. So instead of bop, bop, you go bop, like that. That's cool. And then I you know what cracked this wide open? I was thinking of where does the F go? Where does the D go? No. I said, where would the E have to go? And I said, well, maybe it's like an EI word. And sure enough, boom, that's what it was. So, yeah, that's super helpful. And then that's so funny. I said deify. And then it was so close, and I just switched it, edify. That's funny. Well, I'm glad it was not ilium. Imagine it was ilium. Went from datum to edify. Tracy Bennett's my ultimate enemy. Oh, John Marco. That's funny. I got that one yesterday. I was looking at the word. I mean, you were there, but I was like, I wonder. Like, this is such a seldom used word. You know, when is data? I was even talking to my kids in the car afterwards, and I was like, you guys would never guess what the Wordle was. And sometimes my kids do the Wordle, but yesterday we were so busy. They were like, no, we're not going to get to the Wordle. Just tell us. And I was like, I don't want to tell you, but I will tell you exactly what it is, but I guarantee you won't get it. And I said, what is the singular of data? And my youngest daughter, she was so smart. She was like, oh, it's data. I was like, no, data and data are not singular and plural of each other. This is 2 ways of pronouncing the same word. And I said, datum. And my one daughter was like, Dad, you're such a nerd. Why do you know that? I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. It helps me do the Wordle, I guess. That's funny. Yeah. Deify and edify. I think that's really interesting. That's fascinating. I took a screenshot of that just to show that deify and edify are basically, just the switch those 2 first letters. That's so cool. All right. I don't know about you, but it does feel better to sort of take my time through these, not stress about time. A YouTube short has to be 3 minutes or less. And I do these in about 3.5 minutes, but then I sit there and cut it in Premiere Pro and like, oh, where do I make cuts? To to only have 18 views total between all of those different shorts, it's not worth my headache. It's not worth your time. It's not, I don't know. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It just didn't stand out as a thing I need to do every day. So I'm not going to do it. I hope you're not, miffed about that you're not going to see a YouTube short. They're not really short either. That's the other thing. Usually YouTube shorts are like really zippy. They're like 40 seconds and they just give you a dopamine hit and that's it. These ones were struggling to be any shorter than 3 minutes. And even 3 minutes, it's like, that's not even short, right? Some popular music is longer or, shorter than 3 minutes. So to keep someone's attention span for that long, that's asking a lot. So I ended up, not even worrying about it. So yeah, anyway, let's play the Strands. I'm feeling good about Strands. The one short that I did notice did get the most views, and I'm saying the most. It's like 9 views, right? Hardly any still. But that was the Strands puzzle. I was very surprised by that. The Strands puzzle was the one that actually did pull in different words. So who uses the word datum? Yeah, exactly, right? A singular data point. Even then, I just used data as a plural right there, right? Data is one of those like very liquid words, like water. You don't usually say waters unless it's a like biblical, right? The many waters or something. I can't really think of any real reason to do that. Okay, so today's theme in the Strands puzzle is called strings attached, which makes me feel like puppets, right? Like puppet strings. But now looking at it, I only see, well, there's a P, but there's no U. So maybe it's not about puppets. Like a marionette puppet or something. Strings attached. So what could this be about? Wheel? Oh, wait a minute. Pinwheel? Hold on. Oh, pinwheel. I saw the word wheel, and then I saw pin, and I was like, oh, I wonder if pinwheel. So strings attached. Pinwheel. Are these yo-yo tricks? Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. Wait a second. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh. That just unlocked a flood of memories. Oh my gosh. That's so funny. Okay. So when I was a kid, when I was in high school, my favorite job, my hands down favorite job when I was a teenager, I worked at a couple of fun places. I worked at a candy store, and I worked at a toy shop. And literally, I think I told you this before, but my job was to demonstrate toys. So we'd go out onto the boardwalk. It was on the Ocean City Boardwalk in New Jersey. And we would play with yo-yos, and we would play with devil sticks and Diablos, and we'd take turns going out onto the beach and flying stunt kites, the 2-line kites. And literally, that was my job. It was awesome. It was the best job a kid could ask for. Hey, it's your turn to fly kites on the beach. What? Dang, me again? That's so great. Okay, so I didn't know all the tricks. I just knew I knew quite a few, and in fact, sometimes I'll bring my yo-yos to the school and just like play around with them, and kids are like, "Whoa, what? How did you do that?" And it's fun when kids actually come with their yo-yos too. In fact, a kid in my TV broadcast class came with his yo-yos, and he was like, "Hey, can you fix this one?" And I like took the string apart and the clutch and everything, and I fixed his yo-yo, and I was like, "Wow, this was really stiff before, but it feels great now." And he tried it, and he's like, "Whoa, that's so great! How'd you learn to do that?" I'm like, "Well, my best job in the world." Okay, so what else? What other tricks is around the world? trapeze. God, I'm trying to remember the different names of the tricks. Strings attached. That's so funny. Yo-yo tricks. Oh, of course, sleeper, right? We got 2 more left. You never use a yo-yo because you always break things? Oh, no. I'm trying to think of what these 2 tricks are. There's a yo-yo guy that comes up in my live stream feed every once in a while. You know when you're scrolling through the shorts and it goes, "Do you want to watch live streams?" And you hit go live and then you slide through, and 99% of it is just absolute garbage, right? I'm sure when you scrolled through and found mine one time, you were like, "Oh, thank goodness, a non-ASMR video," right? It's someone from a far off land like making dinner and just answering chat. That doesn't appeal to me at all. Yeah, just it surprises me sometimes the content. I don't even know if you want to call it content. It's like people sleeping, and there's 15,000 people watching someone sleeping, and I'm like, why? How? And here I am struggling to have 10 people watch my live stream, and it's actually like good, meaningful content. I'm like, why? It's funny. Yo, check out the yo-yo strands. You're funny. Okay, I see CK. Oh, here it is. Seasick. Yep, seasick. The seasick is similar to a really fun one called DNA. Like the helix of a DNA. You throw it, it's kind of sideways, and instead of spinning up and down like this, the yo-yo spins left and right. And you hold it down, and so the string, like vibrates back and forth and makes like a cool helix look. The trouble with that one is pulling it back up again. You have to pull it kind of up and then sideways when it releases and comes back in. It turns out really cool. It looks awesome. Looks super cool. Oh, and then of course, I went the wrong way. Here, hold on. Elevator. Cool. That's really fun. That's a super fun one. Okay. Yeah, that opened up like a flood of memories for me. The Strands puzzle today. Strings attached. These are yo-yo tricks. Golly. And I mean, there's a ton of them that are not on there too, right? Around the World. Walk the Dog. What else is there? I mean, the cradle, right? That classic, like, make the yo-yo kind of go back and forth like it's on a swing. Okay, it says breakaway. I did not have a breakaway yo-yo. I had one with a clutch. Breakaway would be if you threw it and did it wrong, then it would actually come off the string. It would break off the string. Pinwheel. Elevator, classic. Seasick, kind of similar to that DNA helix. And then the sleeper. That's like the first one you learn, right? Everyone should learn how to make a yo-yo sleep. And if you don't, then you're just throwing it down, coming up, throwing it down, coming up. And that's actually what was going on with that kid that was in my TV broadcast class. He showed it to me, and he's like, it doesn't sleep. And then I looked at it, and his yo-yo string was just like super tightly knotted, and I took it off and got it to a good place that it could just sit on the bearing, and the clutch would grab it and stuff. And then it worked like a charm after that. He was like, oh, this is so much better. I've been dealing with this for years. And then another kid brought his, and his string was actually caught inside the bearing. And I was like, I don't even know how you did this, but it's like stuck inside. But I helped him figure it out, and now both kids, both yo-yos work really great. So, by the way, Wynaliu is stealing these connections. She's gonna steal it for connections one day. Yeah, she's like, oh, great words. Oh yeah, we're gonna use those. That's funny. They talk to each other. They share a cubicle, I'm sure, right? That's funny. All right, letterbox. Create words using letters around the square. All right, so let's do it. Let's create words. What words should we use here? We've got F, M, and H, T, D, and E, L, C, and I, U, S, and Y. And we have to do it in 4 words today. Yikes, there's a Y in there. We have to use it in 4 words. Okay. We could do SH, a CH, or a TH for the H. There's no A in the puzzle. There's no O in the puzzle. Interesting. We do have our E here. It's on the same side as the T, though. So we could do... Oh, and we can't do ED because E and D are on the same side. We could do ES words. I can't do a word like cyclone because CL... Well, there's no O either. There's no R. Oh, there's no R. Ugh. Yikes. There's no R in this one. Themself. It's kind of a strange word, themself. Themselves. But the singular of that, which inherently them is plural, but to put it in the singular, it's kind of strange. Themself. C and I are on the same side, or else I could say lucidly. Dang, there's no A. I could say fluctuate. This is tricky with no A. I keep coming up with words that have an A in them. Fluct. And there's flu, sure. How about fluidly? Fluidly, that's a good word, but now we're stuck with a C. And starting on a Y. Yuck. Okay, alright, here's what we do. My old classic trick. I literally am going to forget it. So I'm going to write it down so that we can reverse engineer this one. Okay, I am going to erase and then start with the C. We'll go cut. And then we'll go to them, self. That seems like such a backwards word, doesn't it? It's not themselves, but them-self. Fluidly. I could have said fluidity, too. Fluidly. All right, cool. We did that in 3 words instead. Cool. All right, well, let's recap. Let's hit all of these, and we'll get to the top. Okay, the connections puzzle today. We did the purple category first, ending with kinds of dogs. News hound, shadow boxer, snickerdoodle, and then trendsetter. Newspaper jobs, that's the yellow category. Columnist, editor, photographer, and reporter. That one stood out, of course, because I teach TV broadcast. The yellow you guys were saying that, the blue category might be the tricky one. So I got the green, and then I instead erased those and then put the ones I hadn't guessed. So I got the blue next. What con might mean, that's a tricky one. That's definitely one for last, because I'm like, what? That didn't stand out. Convention, right? Comic-Con. Criminal is a con. A drawback, pros and cons. Swindle, to con someone. That's a tricky one. That did not stand out to me. And then everyday, right? Things that are common, regular, routine, or standard. All right. Oh, for heaven's sake. Let's see. 5 across was ending for cine and multiplex, cineplex for movie theater names. Why do they use plex so often? Pelvic bone, the ilium. This will not do. Unacceptable. Excited cry from a kid on the slide. You can see it even makes kind of a slide on an angle. The circled letters. He says, wee. What a ballerina might do on one toe. Spin. And then to permit is to allow. Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. Exude is to radiate as energy. And then the Stooge with the bowl cut. Remember, there's Larry, Moe, and Curly. That was Moe. Okay, and look how we ended up doing this Wordle today. I started with 3 non-intersecting words: bound, tripe, and flams. Flams is a great drummer word. And that gave us a D, an E, and an F somewhere, and then an I right in the middle. So then what really opened this one up for me is the E. And I thought, where does the E go? Could go I-E something, but the D can't go at the end. So I thought, all right, what if it's like before? So I thought, D-E-I. Oh, deify, that's a word. And then look at what we did. It was like, nope, you're so close. So we just switched those 2 words. Edify. I'm kind of baffled that deify and edify are nearly the same word, just 2 letters mixed up. All right, this one was so clever. My favorite job as a teenager was demonstrating toys at a toy shop. And there was, I took a turn playing, yo-yo tricks on the boardwalk and flying kites on the beach, and just, what a fun job. Super cool. But yo-yo trick was the spangram. These are different yo-yo tricks, right? The breakaway, the pinwheel, the elevator, seasick, and the sleeper. Some of those are harder than others, right? You probably learn the sleeper first, get it to sleep, and then you can walk the dog, and then you can try around the world, or lots of different fun tricks you can do. And then the letterbox today, right? I just realized that made a kind of a weird sentence. Cut themselves fluidly. Oh no. That doesn't sound great. Oh boy. Let's see. How did they solve it yesterday? Let's see. Verklempt and thorax. Okay, I have used that one. You've probably heard it in Michael Myers used it in Saturday Night Live. Mike Myers. I'm feeling verklempt. Was that Mike Myers? I don't remember who said that one. That's such a funny Yiddish word. I grew up on the East Coast. I heard words like that all the time when I was a kid. So funny. Awesome. Yeah, good stuff. Here, let's put it back on this. Cut themselves fluidly. Oh, boy. I didn't realize that it would make such a strange turn of events like that. Oh, boy. Well, awesome. You guys are great. Thanks for a great stream. I've been doing this in the morning. I have noticed up days and down days in terms of who watches. So if you watch pretty regularly, Would you rather I keep doing these in the morning, or is it better that I do them later in the day? I am going to have a couple of busy days here, and I'm tempted maybe to do them a little bit later in the day just to see how it turns out. But I don't know. You let me know if you'd rather see my live stream in the morning or the afternoon, or maybe much later in the day. Who knows? So anyway, you guys are great. Thanks for a great stream. Thanks for the great chat. This was fun. Thanks for all this stuff. And I was going to say something about yo-yo tricks. If you have a yo-yo, go try some yo-yo tricks today. Go try, at least to make your yo-yo sleep. See if it still works. All right. You guys are awesome. And I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.